Service management. The definition of service management is a set of specialized organizational capabilities for providing value to customers in the form of services. So if we think about strategy as a whole, this usually is driven from leadership, right? What are your organizational capabilities that have been established that would assist with providing the various services that you have as an organization to the customer, right? So bus company, once again, what is it that you do, bus company, that enables you to provide a bus service to an organization? Do you have a fleet of luxurious buses? Do you have buses that are handicap accessible so that you can provide handicap services to some of these companies? Do you have a strong project management foundation and all of your program managers are made to or since and gotten their PMPs so that they can manage schedule and cost and variance and all of these different things? So as an organization, what type of capabilities do you have to support provision of these services? So that's what service management is as defined by ITIL. And once again, this is established by the organization, not by the IT service desk, not by IT service managers. It's very important to know that.
The service management would be the kind of breakout of the service to say, we're going to offer this service, and through the management of the service, we can define, or we can anticipate that we're going to provide a service that offers the customer value.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay.
Yep. And the organizational capabilities support that. So if your help desk, for instance, is trying to do something innovative, right? Oh, we want to measure ticket time to closure, or we want to measure how many tickets or what percentage of tickets have been open for more than 30 days. Well, that's a great metric, and it may be important to the IT organization, but what type of organizational capabilities support that? You know, oftentimes if you don't already have the tools established, then you can't do some of these innovative things. So once again, the organization has to have the capabilities to support the services that you want to provide.
Awesome.
Okay, understanding a service. So in the top, I guess this is brown. I wanted to say it was purple. Box, we have business service, and we have business process 1, 2, and 3. In the large, can you see my cursor at all?
Yes, the little hand.
Yes, okay, great. So this light blue box would represent your business service management. So once again, business service management, we're talking about a set of specialized organizational capabilities for providing value to customers in the form of services. So it's everything here, right? That would include, you know, some of your business information, technical information, business process, IT services. So that's the full gamut. These are the organization's capabilities here. And here we have a service. So this would be the service that's provided to an external or to a customer, right? Typically, let's say they're an external customer. There's someone who you're paying for a service. And notice how the service itself is just a component of your IT services, right? So your IT services support your overall service. And this is what ITIL is also explaining, is that the IT services that are provided are not the end-all be-all. There are some other things that should be considered when we consider a service. So if we look at the business services at the top, We have business process 1, 2, and 3, which should also be supporting your service, the end service that you're providing to your customer. In tandem with that, there's policy, strategy, governance, and compliance, right? You spoke earlier about SLAs, so that should be included. SLAs and SLRs, which are service level requirements, including cost and price, which would be included in that service. Any IT applications, data, the IT processes that support these IT technical assets, your support services, organizational level agreements, those are OLAs, and we'll talk more about that. The support teams and suppliers that support the IT process. And so as a whole, this diagram is just showing that when we talk about a service, there's so many other things that roll into a service than just delivering a bus service, giving someone a bus ride. There's so many other components that are needed to build a service and support a service. And as we go through these, we'll double back to this slide so that we can really dissect it. Because there are some things that are here, such as warranty, which we haven't talked about yet, assets, capabilities, and we really need to go over those definitions. But the main takeaway right now is just that there's many things to consider when we consider providing a service to a customer. Okay, a product versus a service. This is also a few definitions that and concepts that you would definitely need to know for the exam. So product versus service. For a product, skipping down to the second bullet, satisfaction comes from after usage, right? So if we're thinking about going to a restaurant and ordering breakfast, and we sit down and we eat our breakfast, the satisfaction for the meal that we consume comes after we've digested it, after we actually ate it. It's not enough for us to see it on the plate and say, hey, this is a nice, bagel and fruit and orange juice. It looks great. I'm totally satisfied with this. For a product, the satisfaction comes after it's been used. So after I eat it, well, I know, okay, yes, it was worth it. Yes, I enjoyed the meal. Yes, there was great value for what I received. Okay, for a service, the satisfaction comes while it is being consumed. Typically because the service itself has a longer life cycle. And so many different things can happen in between the first day you had a kickoff meeting and 90 days into your service delivery. So in that way, we want to make sure that we understand that satisfaction for a product comes after it's being used, right? After you have released your product into production, and the customers are able to log in and you got a successful login. That's excellent. Perfect, it works. For a service, if you are having people go to an actual location every day for 90 days and they're on a contract and they're working on a small project, satisfaction comes while the service is being provided. So every day they show up on time, every day they're meeting their targets, every day they're being professional and providing service to the customer. So the life cycle for providing a service is longer. Therefore, the satisfaction comes while it's being consumed. And for a product, it happens after it's been used or consumed.
So
does that make sense?
Yeah, for a service, does that mean that there are multiple points of satisfaction that could or may need to be tracked?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. And the same for a product. So if we're thinking about products, the only difference is that for the product life cycle, it's more internal typically. So you usually find out where you're falling short or missing the mark internally until you get to some type of review. And you may have to show your hand to the customer, hey, we've had 95 defects and you know, and here we are.
Yeah.
But most of the time for the product life cycle, you're able to make adjustments internally. For a service, it's more difficult because the customer is usually um, there with you every step of the way. And so, you're more vulnerable to their criticism and to them checking and spot checking and all of those fun things. And so that's why the satisfaction comes while it's being consumed. And it's even more difficult because you need to remain consistent through the duration of your engagement with that customer.
Okay. Really makes you like think about all those reviews for like, I was recently looking for hiking boots.
Mm-hmm.
And like went on REI, and there are so many people that are like, oh my God, I tried them on once, or like I pulled them out of the box and they look great. It's like, that's not helpful.
Absolutely. And I've seen that too. I mean, and I've even seen people come back and provide an update and they say, you know what? I got the boots. They were in great condition. They look so cute. And they show a little picture with them on their feet. And then they come back a month later and say, oh, there was water leaking from the boot. So it's just like, yeah, you have to actually use it in order to know that it's fit for purpose.
Yeah.
Which is something that we'll also talk about. Doubling back to the first bullet, it's sort of self-explanatory. There's a difference between perceived quality and expected quality, right? So, what's perceived, your perceived quality is different from your expected quality. Sometimes customers expect that you have hit every mark on your contract and you've hit all of your SLAs. And contractually, um, you were supposed to deliver these 5 services. However, you didn't deliver 5 services, but your staff was always friendly and they were always on time. And I went to their kids' little league game, and so from the vendor's perspective, they're like, "Hey, we're doing a great job because they love us." However, the customer, even though they're engaged in all those fun things, their expectation of quality was really focused on what was in the contract and not how great you all, had a great relationship or how great you got along. So there's a huge difference between perceived quality and expected quality as far as satisfaction goes. Pretty self-explanatory there.